Thank you for the countdown, Kill. Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. Uh, Indeed. Ho, ho, ho.
What? I'm wearing my pajamas
This is how
I wear
she
this
sleeps every night.
every night.
Yeah. It's weird, but hey, we make it work. Welcome, everyone. We're a small group here. Which is awesome. Welcome to anyone that's online as well. So we just invite you to join us as we sing and praise Jesus on this morning where we commemorate his birth.
Son Merry Christmas. Okay, so how's everybody doing this morning? What's happening? Anybody get up wildly early and open presents and have breakfast and you're all done for the day and you're going to go home and nap? Allie? Yeah. I know I'm fairly confident my kids are going to go home and nap, except like we're going to go home, do breakfast and then presents, and then I'm pretty confident they're going to nap. Yeah. Pretty confident. Yeah, not. We're probably not. Oh, my wife is. I'm probably not. I have this thing coming up on Tuesday. It's not really important, but it's like this. I just thought I would put a little time into it. I don't know. Yeah, be prepared a little bit, I guess. Yeah, whatever. So I've been thinking about this this story of what happened some 2,000 years ago, and so because I'm weird about stuff. You guys know this. So I was looking at the story, and they talk about like when you watch all of the skits and stuff, right? There was no room in the inn, except the word "inn" isn't "in," and so I was like, okay, so I knew it wasn't an inn. I knew that was sort of a construct. So I looked it up and I spent a little time with it. So can we flash forward 30 years? No. Keep up. From when Jesus was born, flash forward 30 years. Jesus is entering Jerusalem, and he says to his disciples, "Go into the city, you'll meet a man. He has a room prepared, and he'll show it to you. It's a guest room that we can have our meal and stay in." And so that room, that word is the word that there was no room for Mary and Joseph. The guest room was full. So where they had to stay was the room downstairs. Now, here's the part that's interesting for me. So that room downstairs, and we always picture it as a stable, but it's not. But why we picture it as a stable is on really cold days, when it's going to be really cold overnight. Now, I know we can understand that. They would bring in their most precious herd animals. Now, not the sheep, but they would bring in cows or chickens or what. They would come in to that bottom room. So they had a feeding trough, and they would have straw down for the animals to bed down. And so they would bring those animals into that bottom room. And so that room is the room they had. And so when we picture all these animals around, probably not lobsters, but inside joke. But if you picture that, and when they talk about there were animals, and we always see that in the pictures, there probably were. And so if there were, I imagine it was a frigid night in a really unimportant town. That also feels familiar. A frigid night in an unimportant town to this relatively unimportant family. And a baby is born, and that moment in time when more important people got the guest room. Now, what was happening was they were told, all of them, to return to the town of their forefathers for the census. So that's why many people would have gathered. And so this couple, even though we're expecting, are just a group of people who are returning to this home, and they're not important. So they don't get the guest room. They don't get a part of this upper room at all. Now, 30 years later, everybody is going to Jerusalem for the Passover. Lots of people are flooding in. But now, Jesus gets the upper room that he didn't have when he was a baby. Now is an honored guest. And when we think about that, like sometimes on this day, you'll open a present, you'll get a gift, and it seems like almost a throwaway gift, right? Like somebody gave you something and it's not really, they didn't spend a lot of time, or even if they did, it's not the big gift, right? But somehow that's the gift. Like that's the one that you treasure. It's the one that means the most to you, right? Those things. When we were growing up, my parents would always do this, would give us a gift that we could open first thing on Christmas morning, and it was always something you could play with right away. So they would give us, like, learn how to juggle, or learn to play harmonica. They regretted that one. But it was something that all of the other gifts maybe were something that you would enjoy over time, but this was the one we could play with that day or interact with that day. And that became, for all of us, the most important gift. What was the thing they got that we could just really interact with? And now, we talked about this a bit last night, but I like to really think about gifts I'm giving, and I spend a little extra time on it, and that, which is fine. That doesn't mean my gifts are better, because though my wife doesn't necessarily do it that way, she knows us so well. So last year she gave me just this little thing that was one of my favorite songs that when she hears it, she thinks about me. And for me, that was the gift. Somebody asked me what my favorite gift was of all time. That was my favorite gift. Like for her, it probably wasn't the most important gift, but it was the most important person in my life knew me and thought about what I might treasure. And I do. Like that was the thing. And so it's in a place of prominence, and I look at it often, and I think about it often. And it probably didn't take her all that long to do, but it was huge for me. And when you think about this, when you think about this Christmas story, this unimportant family in an unimportant town, unimportant even in their family, gave a gift to the world of someone who became a king, a treasured visitor in the biggest, most important town at the most important ceremony of the year, and all of a sudden a king is about to be proclaimed, and then again in such an atypical way, by dying. This baby born among animals in the lower room becomes the one who by dying changes the world. And that's what we talked about this morning. That's what we celebrate this morning. That moment in time when everyone missed it and then found out about it after. The only ones who knew were Mary and Joseph. And they still rate only a place among the straw. And so if you ever have a moment when you think, I'm just a normal person in a small town on a cold day. Nothing I do is really that important, you have to know that's not true. And you don't get to determine your importance. Right? We saw last night, so if you were here, James was having a little struggle playing. And I said to him afterwards, like, yeah, I hope you understand. We only noticed because you told us. Right? But we often highlight only our worst parts. If you're at all like me in this, you compare your worst traits to someone else's best traits. And guess what? You come up short. But so if we were rating things like that, what Mary and Joseph did isn't important. It doesn't count. Princes were born. Important families had children. But their child, born among animals, changed the world. And maybe that's too lofty a goal for you. It certainly is for me. But you know what you can do? You can change the world for people you encounter by being his person in the face of that. Being the person that treats people with kindness and empathy and thought. You can change that moment in time for people struggling. And you probably do in so many ways you don't even realize. Like, that you think, well, this is just a throwaway moment. It doesn't even matter. It's not important. Tomorrow, we're going to have some rehearsal for something that's happening on Tuesday. But it's at a time, that rehearsal is at a time when I need to get my daughter into the city to work. So we're going, okay, well, how are we going to do this? Because the 3 people that drive in our house need to be here. So we're going to have to take her really early. But then we have these amazing neighbors who live next to us who just said, we'll take her. We're going that way. It's not a problem. She'll be a bit early, but we're going to take her. And it's like, they don't know what that kindness means to our family. Like, that allows us to focus on something that is really important to the couple that are getting married. And so therefore it's important to us. And so that moment in time, this throwaway kindness is treasured by us. And so you just don't know what impact being thoughtful has. And so as we sing some more and reflect on this, just remember this moment in time in an unimportant town to an unimportant family, unimportant members of the family had a baby that became a king and changed the world. Thus the world is changed.
All right. Thanks, Dave. I invite you to stand and join us as we sing our closing songs.
The starry night, a king is
to say.